Adrian Wojnarowski of The Vertical here, back at Las Vegas Summer League with Denver Nuggets head coach Michael Malone. Mike, thanks for jumping in here.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be on, Woj.
Mike, before we talk about the real strong foundation, the core you have coming back in Denver, you and Tim Connolly, your president, Josh Kroenke, in free agency, got a meeting with Dwayne Wade. You were very aggressive in pursuit of him, and were one of three teams to really get at the table with him. Was there some value for the organization to have a player of his stature, a Hall of Fame player, to take your pursuit that seriously?
I think so. First off, it speaks to Josh Kroenke and Tim Connolly, the fact that they're willing to do whatever it takes to bring the best players to Denver and try to make this truly a championship-type team. But when you sit down with a Hall of Fame player, I don't care who it is, that is sending a message that we're serious and we want to get this thing turned around quickly. And it was a win-win for us. Anytime you talk to a player like that, he's an instant impact on the court, on the business side. It's going to be a win-win in every facet of the organization. But it also shows you that, you know what, we're heading in the right direction. The fact that he was willing to sit down and speak with us and give us that time, and it wasn't just a run-of-the-mill meeting. He had done his homework. He had just gone on vacation with a couple of players that I had coached and have good relationships with, and he was really prepared.
Michael, your roster, tremendous young talent. Nikola Jokic, third in the Rookie of the Year voting behind Karl Anthony Towns, Kristaps Porzingis last year. He's had a great summer playing for Serbia internationally. He's going to be a centerpiece for you going forward. Have you, with him over the last 18 months, year, getting to know him and coaching him, can you build a team around him?
I think so. You know, it's funny, 1 year ago, he played Summer League, and I kid you not, after that week of Summer League, we all said, hey, he's a nice player. He's okay. Shows you how much I know as a coach. And then as the season went on, Adrian, he just got better and better. And the one game that stands out at San Antonio against the Hall of Fame front line, he goes out and gets 26 points, 13 rebounds, and he's a great playmaker. As you mentioned, having a great summer. He was voted MVP of their qualifying tournament in Serbia. And now he's going to go to Rio, but he can do everything. He can score from the perimeter with his back to the basket. He's a great playmaker, as I mentioned. He makes everybody around him better. And he has a very high IQ. So we think we have some great building blocks. Nikola Jokic, Emmanuel Mudiay, Gary Harris, and we just drafted a great rookie draft class that we're very, very excited about as well.
You mentioned some of those young players, Danilo Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, some more established veteran players. You have almost two very distinct groups on your team. How do you manage that as a head coach? There's a balance of building a core for the future, but you have some guys who are very much win-now guys who, you know, are the kind of guys that help you get to the playoffs if healthy.
Well, you mentioned it. You know, Gallinari, Fareed, Chandler, Darrell Arthur, those guys have been in the league a long time. And the fact of the matter is they love to be in Denver. They all want to be there, but they also want to win. A lot of those guys have had playoff success, and they want to get back to the playoffs. So the fine line of you don't want to be too young, but we feel we have great young talent, and Tim has balanced off the roster with some very good veteran players. And you know, we had a lot of games missed due to injury last year. So if we can be healthy, all of our returning players, from the young guys to the veterans, are going to come back improved. And then now if we can get our newer young players, more young players up to speed, you know, we feel we can really make a run for a postseason berth this year.
My history has shown to get in the playoffs in the West, you've got to be creeping up on 50 wins. And you know, whether it's 46, 47, 48, the teams like you and Utah, who are really going to be, you know, the Jazz you see in their group, they might be a few years ahead of you in terms of where their core is. They brought in some veterans. Do you see an ability here of some teams? I don't want to say it's a changing of the guard in the West, because the Spurs are still going to be great. The Warriors got better. Oklahoma City's been diminished a little, but they're still very talented. But do you see a window here for teams like you, Utah, to become serious players to make that jump in to the postseason?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's a lot of young, dangerous teams out there. You mentioned the Utah Jazz. They lose to the Clippers at home. Cole Aldrich has a great game, and that home loss really was a big blow to their playoff plans. You mentioned us, the Minnesota Timberwolves. A lot of teams with great young talent who are on the rise, heading in the right direction. So yeah, we feel we're going to be one of those teams. There is a changing of the guard. There's a lot of movement. You go back to last season, Adrian, it wasn't until maybe 5 games to go in the regular season that we were officially eliminated from the playoff run. Now, last year was an anomaly, to your point. I looked at it. You have to win 46 games last 10 years out West to make the playoffs. Last year that wasn't the case, but I expected to get back to that this year. So we have a lot of room to grow and go to get there. 33 wins this year, but as I mentioned, to a man on our roster, when I met with each player at the end of the season, everybody's willing to do whatever it takes to become a team that can compete in the postseason. And we'll see how the season unfolds.
You had 3 first-round picks, but your lottery pick, Jamal Murray of Kentucky, has made a tremendous impression on people in Summer League. What have you seen from him that has you encouraged?
People forget that he was a point guard his whole life. And so if you just watch Jamal Murray at Kentucky, you would say, okay, he's a shooting guard, because he played alongside a very talented point guard in Tyler Ulis. We're trying to showcase Jamal's ability to be a 1 and a 2. Draft night, I called Gary Harris and said, Gary, don't read into this. We drafted Jamal Murray. We drafted Malik Beasley. You're our starting 2 guard. You had a great second season in the NBA, and your year 3 is going to be even better. But Jamal, for a very young 19-year-old kid, is mature. His parents have done a terrific job in raising him. He has a calmness, and he never gets rushed. He's always under control, Adrian, which is what I really love. Young guys, a lot of times, get sped up, they get out of control, and I haven't seen that yet from Jamal.
You mentioned Gary Harris. He's a player I think you really took a liking to. He had a little bit of an uneven first year, felt a little bit lost. You get him in his second year, comes from a Michigan State program. I know you got a lot of respect and good relationship with Tom Izzo. How have you seen his growth, and how has Gary handled that challenge of getting 2 players drafted at his position just a year behind him?
When you get a player from Michigan State, and going into my 16th year, you know you're getting a guy who's got toughness and understands the value and importance of defense and rebounding. And Gary, to your point, Adrian, his rookie year, just never got into a rhythm. He only played in 55 games, maybe 11 minutes a night. And I've gotten the question a lot, well, what changed from year 1 to year 2? Only thing that changed was he got a chance, and he took advantage of the opportunity given to him. I learned from my father years ago, the greatest gift I can give a player as a coach is confidence. Gary Harris knew after starting 76 games and playing 30 minutes a night that I believed in him, that Tim Connelly believed in him. And he took that belief and went out there and played at a very high level. I value Gary because he is truly one of the better young 2-way players in the NBA. He's a good shooter, he's a good athlete, he attacks, but he also understands the importance of defense on the other end. And when I called him on draft night, he really appreciated it because, Coach, I'm good, I'm not worried. He goes, because he's confident. He's put the work in, he's up to 220 pounds, and he's looking at a couple of 19-year-old kids and says, there's no way they're coming in here to take my job, which I love. But yeah, Gary is a big, big part of our future, and very, very proud of him. He and Emmanuel will be with the select team this week playing against the USA team, which will be a great experience for both of those guys.
Mike, always good to visit with you.
Appreciate it.
For more on the Nuggets and the NBA, go to thevertical.com. I'm Adrian Wojnarowski with The Vertical.